that starts there. I think we left off on in verse in chapter 10, and I think it was verse number 4. But we just gonna go back just a little bit and kind of bring us back up to that point. We had talked about when Jesus said, I am he that entereth not in, I say unto you, he that entereth in, that's verse number 10, chapter 10 and number 1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, climbeth up some of the way the same as a thief. Robert, we was talking about how the keeper of the sheep, the shepherd of the sheep, when he come, he entered in through the gate. The gate that leads into the pen, this is the way he enters in. He don't try to climb or go in no other way but through that way. If he try to go in the other way, then he's doing something that he shouldn't do. He's a thief and a robber. Yeah. And we see many people doing things that they shouldn't do today like they did back then. They trying to enter in and climb up some other way. And the only way this climb can be done in the right way is when we go through Jesus Christ. There's no other way around get to heaven but through Jesus. Verse number 2 says, but he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. And when I read this, it's something that came to my mind and said that, well, when Jesus came, Jesus didn't try to go around it. Jesus entered in through that door. And Jesus is the shepherd. Jesus is my shepherd. Jesus is your shepherd. If it's 2 letters, but if means, that's a big word. If we have done what he says to do. If. So Jesus entered in through the door of sheep pen. And the sheep is the Christian. Sheepfold is the church. We enter the sheepfold. We in his church. Jesus is our shepherd. And another thing, when I was reading last night, verse number 3, to the potter, to him the potter opened it, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. Well, now last week I tried to name everybody in here. I ain't gonna do it this week because sometimes I'm looking at Sister Brooke and I couldn't get Sister Brooke's name off. And I'm looking at her, and it just wouldn't come. Somebody had to help me. So everybody in here, I'm gonna put it like that. That's right. Everybody in here who have obeyed what Christ have said and went down in the liquid grave of baptism and come up and walk in the newness of life, he's your shepherd. To him the potter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Over in Palestine, when I was studying and trying to get some understanding of what it was saying and everything. It said, over in Palestine, it says that the sheep the shepherd of the sheep, when he go into the pen, he said that the Palestine herders, they let me read it. He did not. Palestine shepherds lead their sheep. They do not drive them, and the sheep follow because they knew their own shepherd's voice. Christ don't drive us. Christ leads us. And we follow because we hear his voice. And a stranger, we teach our children now, don't you talk to strangers. Stranger danger. Don't you talk to strangers, because people do strange things to children that they shouldn't do. I don't know what be going on in their mind. They mistreat children like they do sometimes. But anyway, Christ don't drive us. He don't stand behind us. He go in front of us and we follow him. Remember over in Exodus, I think it's Exodus 3 and 13, I think it is, when Moses was keeping his father Jethro, he was keeping the flock. And God caused this angel to appear in that flame of fire in that burning bush. And when he got Moses' attention, Moses looked aside to see that burned fire, that bush was on fire, but it didn't burn up. And then when God seen that Moses looked, and that he had got Moses' attention, he went and when he was standing up, got up in that mountain, and he was God said, Moses, and Moses said, here I am, and God said that you gonna lead, paraphrase, because it was a lot, but anyway, he told Moses, you gonna lead my people out of Egypt. And Moses asked God, said, well, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And who am I going to say that you are? And God told Moses, say that I am, that I am. You tell them I am have sent you. And then he told Moses, he gave him them signs and stuff like to put your hands into your like this, and when it come out as leprous, and when you put it back, it cleared up. And another one he told Moses, said, take that what you got in your hand, that stick. And I remember Brother William doing a class and said, God gave Moses a stick. And with that stick, he brought Egypt down. With a walking stick now. But anyway, God led the children of Israel out of Egypt. He didn't drive them, he led them. And they followed him. And when the potter, and when he putteth forth his own sheep, he go up before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Sometimes when we come together, and sometimes when we'll be coming over from our house to get here, and You sometimes I be listening to 15, 20, and you hear all the junk. Oh, that's all it is. You hear all the junks on the radio. All this stuff about how you're going to get a blessing and this stuff. And you blessed right now because God done woke you up this morning.
Amen.
And brought you out and we gathered together. You blessed.
Amen. Amen.
Anything above ground is a blessing.
Amen.
Boy, you gotta believe it.
Amen.
You might have to go through some struggles, but any day above ground is a blessing.
Amen.
God leadeth. God leadeth us. He don't stand behind us and push us. God goes before us, and we follow him. He led the children out of Egypt, and he went before them with a pillar of cloud by day, and that fire by night. Then when they crossed that Red Sea, God caused that wind to blow, and they opened up that Red Sea and made that wall of water so the children of Israel could go through on dry ground. God led them across them, and they followed God. We got to follow him today. No matter how difficult the circumstances get sometimes, you still got to follow him. And a stranger will they not follow. Stranger, danger. But we flee from him. That's danger. For they know not the voice of strangers. Stranger, danger. You hear what's going on in the world. All this stuff was going on. These so-called these people got so many titles. I don't see how they keep up with it. One man said he's pastor, evangelist, apostle, and with dog. How many names do it take? But you know what? I'm gonna tell you, all of that is about trying to get your money. That's all that's about. All of these so-called titles, what they have, is just about trying to get their hands in your pocket. This parable spake Jesus unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. In John, Brother William in John 8, 26 and 27, Brother KJ, Brother Thomas, John 12, Anthony Thomas, John 12 and 16. Let me give me some so I can mark who I got with. Brother Daniels, Luke 18, 31 through 34. Brother KJ, Luke 2, 41 through 50. Brother James Thomas, Luke 9, 37 through 45. Brother William,
John 8:26-27.
Yes.
I have many things to say and to judge of you, but he that sent me is true, and I speak to the world those things which I have heard of him. They understood not that he spake to them of the Father.
Jesus was telling them, I'm doing my Father's work. I'm speaking what he telling me to speak. And they understood, they didn't understand that Jesus was, they always tried to discredit Jesus, that he wasn't the Son of God. But Jesus, you couldn't change Jesus' mind or his that who he was, and that his Father was in him, reconcile the world to himself. You couldn't change Jesus' mind by that. There ain't no way you could do it. Brother Thomas.
These things understood not his disciples at the first, but when Jesus was glorified, then remember they that these things were written for him, and that they had done these things unto him.
Jesus was telling his disciples that he had to go to the cross. And they didn't understand that he had to go to the cross for the whole world. And they didn't understand. Let me tell you something, there's a lot of things me and you don't understand in this Bible. And just like I was telling Brother Daniel this morning, this is a lifetime study here. And you might think you done got the whole thing about it, but you ain't even close. Because every time you think you know something, this Bible here let you know, hey, this is the mind of God. This ain't the mind of man. Brother Daniel.
Luke 18:31.
Yes.
Then he took unto him the 12, and said unto them, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and all things that are written by the prophets concerning the Son of Man shall be accomplished. For he shall be delivered unto the Gentiles, and shall be mocked, and spitefully entreated, and spitted on. And they shall scourge him, and put him to death, and the third day he shall rise again. And they understood none of these things, and these sayings was hid from them, neither knew they the things which were spoken.
They didn't understand at the time. Until Jesus had went to the cross and he was glorified. You remember when they was in the when they had crucified Jesus, and Thomas wasn't there, and he said the other ones came back and told Thomas, said they said that we have seen the Lord, and Thomas said, I won't believe until I see the nail prints in his hand, and stick my hands in the side. I won't believe. And then they was all together one time and sitting in that room, and Jesus came. Jesus didn't come and knock on the door. Jesus just came through and stood in the midst of them. And Jesus told Thomas, said, reach hither thy hand and put it in my hand. Reach hither and put your hand into my side. And told Thomas, said, Thomas, because you have seen, you believe, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe. None of us have seen Christ. But let me tell you something. We believe that he lived. We believe that he died. We believe that he rose again, just like he said he would. You ain't got to see him. It's by faith that you believe now. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe. All right. Brother KJ.
Luke 2, right?
Luke 2, 1 through 50.
Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went unto Jerusalem And after those days as they returned, the child Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem. Joseph and his mother knew not of him. They supposed him to have been in the company when a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintances. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrow. He said unto them, How is it that ye sought me? Wish ye not that I must be about my father's business? And they understood, not saying which she spake unto them. That's it.
Yeah, 250.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But they didn't understand that Jesus had been a child, 12 years old. Jesus was in the temple, questioning and answering the doctors and the so-called people that are supposed to be the ones that's supposed to have this thing all together. And Jesus, 12 years old, and he's sitting there and he holding his own. And they don't, and his parents didn't understand when Jesus said, I must be about my father's business. But his mother kept all those things in her heart. But they didn't understand that Jesus is the Son of God. Brother Thomas, Luke 9:37 through 45.
And it came to pass that on the next day, when they were come down from the hills, much people met him. And behold, a man of the company cried out, saying, Master, I beseech thee, look upon my son, for he is mine only child. And lo, a spirit taketh him, and he suddenly cried out, and it in tears. And it tarried him that he formed again, and bruising him hardly, and bruising him hardly, departed from him. That's verse 39. And it besought the disciples to say, cast him out. And they could not. And Jesus answered him, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you and suffer you? Bring that son here. And as he was yet coming, the devil threw him down and teared him. Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit and healed the child and delivered him again to his father. And they were all amazed at the mighty power of God. But while they wondered, every one at all things which Jesus did, he said unto his disciples, let these sayings sink down into your ears, for the Son of Man shall be delivered into the hand of men. Verse 45, but they understood that not the saying, and it was hid from them that they perceived it not. And they feared as spiritually ask him. What that saying?
It's a lot of things they didn't understand. And just like I said, it's a lot of things that we not going to understand. But if we just keep on working at it, a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, keep on studying, keep on meditating, keep on doing, just keep studying. I tell you what, we will know how to get to from earth to glory. We gonna understand that. We might not understand it all, but one day when we hear Christ say, "Well done, well done, thy good and faithful servant," we'll know then. We understood enough to get from earth to glory. Then said Jesus unto them again, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep." Let me tell you something. When Jesus said, "Verily, verily, I say unto you," when that's a command, and he said, "I am the door," that means that it's only one. It's not another door. Jesus came when Jesus entered into the sheep pen. Jesus entered in through the door of that sheep pen, through the gate. That was the door, and he entered in right there. And if we gonna get into Christ, we got to enter in through Him. And no other way that we could get into Christ but through Him. What He said to do, how He said to do it, when He said to do it, and there's no other way. I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. You know, I was saying, when I read that, I said, wait a minute. What do he need all that ever came before him? Because now he got some, we got Moses, we got Elijah, we got Jeremiah, Isaiah, we got all these prophets that, but he's not talking about them. He's talking about them false prophets. Those ones like those Pharisees who's going around trying to discredit him and everything on every hand, trying to lead people astray. Now, if I'm wrong, Brother William, I'm gonna ask you to help me there, Brother William.
Well, I haven't looked into that yet. I got some ideas, what I might think.
We'll talk about it another time, Brother Dan, you want to try to help me on that?
I think you're heading in the right direction when you pointed toward those false prophets and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I looked at it, and when he said that all that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a check mark there. And I'm gonna look into this symbol a little bit more. And I'll come back to that. Verse number 9. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. I am the door, Jesus said. What other door is it that you can enter in through to Jesus, or enter in to get to the Father? See, people try to make like Jesus don't matter. They could go straight to the Father. Jesus said, no, I am the door.
Yes.
By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. If any man enter in through Jesus, you could be saved. He said, you shall be saved if you enter in by him. If you enter in by that door. Buddha, Confucius, T.D. Jakes, Benny Hinn, Creflo Dollar, that old crying one that one got the big old church out there in Lakewood. Say who? I can't call his name, but I can see his face. Oh yeah. Yeah, him. Read somewhere where the people leaving because Joel Osteen makes so much money. You gonna leave that money here, what? You might be living a lavish lifestyle here because you done duped people and everything, and that's what you done did, and you lining your pockets, you live in these lavish homes and stuff like that, and you got people out here that supporting that kind of stuff. The blind lead the blind, all gonna fall into the ditch because you lead them and they following you, so hey, and you lying to the people. Because they fail to look for themselves to find out what salvation is. I have a couple of minutes, Brother KJ. Brother Williams.
Well, thinking about that word if that's used in the beginning of the lesson, that's the condition. I will if you will. And so we need to keep that in mind. We got to hold our Bible in the market.
Brother Williams, that's a big word. Brother Daniel.
I really appreciate how you use the example how Jesus lead us instead of forcing us to go. He leads us and it's up to us to follow. You know, even God set the example through Moses. They follow Moses. We follow Christ now.
He don't make you do nothing. He set the example, and he wants you to do this thing willingly. He wants you to follow him willingly. Brother T.
Good job, brother.
Brother T.
Can't be no better than that. I know, when they didn't do the will of God in their old days, as Moses' days, they said they were stoned to death. And God, it's a good thing that if we follow Jesus today, we don't have to worry about being stoned, Brother Walker.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about, like you say, if we just go in by the door, we'll be saved into the sheepfold.
Yes.
So there's no ifs and ands or buts about that. But it's a good thing that God don't make us do what we don't want to do. He gives us a choice. So it's up to us. So the only way, if we want to go by the door, or do we want to climb up some other way?
If you remember when they tried to stone the woman, what they said was taken in adultery.
That's right.
And they said they called her in the very eye. But now when they brought her to Jesus, all right, and tried to get Jesus into it, Jesus said, he that is among you without sin, let him first cast a stone at her. But I'm gonna ask you a question, though, since they called her in the very eye, where was the man?
Amen.
Where was that man at if they caught her in the very eye?
That's right.
This is my lesson.
Very good, very good.